Hello, good evening, and thanks so much for joining us on News at 10. We're also live on radio at 3FM 92.7. You can follow our live stream on Facebook and 3news.com. We'll start the bulletin with the day's major news summaries. First, a Kumasi-bound Starbow flight crash landed at 12 noon today due to heavy wind following a downpour. One of 3 passengers on board who was seriously injured is on admission at the airport clinic as the 2 were treated and discharged. Meanwhile, passengers were highly upset over refusal of the airline to refund their monies in full. Food staff belonging to hundreds of traders stranded at Yeji are going bad following days of delay as they are unable to access a ferry or a water bus. The Ghana Highway Authority has since last Wednesday temporarily closed down 2 bridges on the Volta Lake at Bupe and Yape, both of which are on the main Kumasi-Tamale trunk road. The chiefs and people of Ahado in the Gbi traditional area of the Volta region have identified promoting girl-child education as key to human development of the area. Traditional Authority at Edeba launched a fund to enhance effective development of the girl child. And on the international front, Egyptian officials investigating the massacre of worshippers at a mosque in Sinai say the attackers were carrying the flag of Islamic State group. At least 305 people died in the assault, which was launched during Friday prayers and has not yet been claimed by any group. Egypt's public prosecutor said there were up to 30 attackers at the scene. My name is Bright Nananfo. Thanks so much for your time. Let's start with a big one. A Kumasi-bound Starbow flight skidded off the tarmac at 12 noon today due to heavy wind following a downpour. 1 of 3 passengers on board who was seriously injured is on admission at the airport clinic, and the 2 were treated and discharged. Meanwhile, passengers were highly upset over refusal of the airline to refund their monies in full.
They are making money. I want your music. All you care about is your money. You don't care about human lives.
Hello. Can we talk to you?
Are you protecting us?
Passengers after the narrow escape from a scary accident crazy over what they describe as an unfair treatment by the airline.
When you use the airport, this move like guys, where you on? You think you are done? Check. The protection we have. And
let's talk to you. What happened? Were you on the flight?
I was on a flight. Would that be annoying like this? I was on a flight.
What really happened?
By this time, I should be in Kumasi, sit down with my conference and take my dollars.
So, sweetheart, what really happened?
What really happened? They are stupid. Listen, they didn't do due diligence. Just about setting off, we saw heavy rainfall, and there was this big flight coming. They didn't even communicate. They couldn't even communicate. Forget about the media. They will go for their solid.
The passengers were disembarked into an ambulance and taken to the airport clinic for treatment. Some passengers were stranded at the domestic section of the airport. Starbow reportedly had promised to refund the 400 cedis out of the over 500 cedis airfare.
You find my money, you God will punish all of you. You are going to die this way. Basia, you will survive until you die. Anytime you think of flying.
Others waited for hours for their relatives who were on board to come out, but authorities were reportedly keeping them inside, away from the media. Managers of Starbow have been tight-lipped about the real cause of the accident, but sources say it was due to the rains. Other domestic flights to Kumasi and Tamale were also delayed.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Airport Company and the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority says it has initiated emergency procedures at the airport as well as investigations to establish the cause of the accident. The head of safety measures at the Aviation Authority, Daniel Akwa, speaking on News 360 earlier, highlighted some of the measures put in place.
Right. How many people were on board, and what other safety measures have you activated at the airport to guarantee safety of passengers now?
Yeah, we had 60 adults and 3 infants, and then 5 crew members on board. So total, there were 68 souls on board the aircraft.
One of the issues that normally comes up for discussion is safety measures of at the airport, the civil aviation, and how regularly you check on the safety of aircraft before they carry passengers, either internal or they fly outside Ghana. But how regular is that?
We have an inspection program, and we base that on quarterly basis. But besides that, when we suspect that there is any issue, then we have to increase the frequency at which we inspect the airlines or the aircraft.
Head of Safety at the Civil Aviation Authority, Daniel Akwa, speaking to Issa Moni early on News 360. We're staying on this issue because the Bureau of Public Safety has expressed worry over the Starboard runway overrun, saying it is bringing the country yet closer to witnessing a national disaster. It maintains that the 2015 and 2016 ICAO safety reports for those 2 years, which names Ghana in some 47 countries, point to that direction. The Bureau insists allowing the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority to lead and continually investigate such incidents can only save jobs at the authority and not lives of passengers. Let's now speak to the Executive Secretary of the Bureau of Public Safety. He's joining me via Skype. Nana, good evening. Grateful for your time with us.
Hi, good evening, Bright. Nice to have you, and good evening to you.
All right. So let's begin from here. You suggesting that the Aviation Authority investigating these accidents isn't the solution to finding ways to deal with it?
Well, absolutely right. Let us say that it's important that the Ghana Civil Aviation from time to time has conducted its own accident investigation. There is a need as a country maintain independent accident investigation body to, as it were, delve into some of these things in proper detail, whose recommendations will also become a working document for the Ghana Civil Aviation. What we have seen in Ghana in recent past is that when there are accidents of this nature or incidents of this nature, we have the Ghana Civil Aviation, come out to investigate itself, and then at the end of the day, whatever they recommend for themselves, it is just for their consumption. We've had instances where the Ministry of Transport also does set up ad hoc committees to investigate such incidents. And at the end of the day, reports are submitted to the Transport Ministry, and whatever the recommendations are not known. We are positing that it is not proper for the Ghana Civil Aviation to continuously be investigating itself. We think that it doesn't fall in line with proper administrative processes for instances such as these, especially when it involves several lives at any point in time. We think that.
You have the Bureau of Public Safety has been asking government to set up independent investigative bodies to investigate these accidents, and you said that you are hitting blocks with government.
Absolutely, right, absolutely. And tomorrow we are coming up with an explosive. Tomorrow, God willing, we shall put out the June 3rd accident report, the full report of the June 3rd, investigations. We are doing this just so the public, the media, the well-meaning Ghanaians can all access this report and read the recommendations therein, so they will know whether the government has been paying lip service or is doing what it has to do in order to ensure that the public remains safe. We are publishing that, and in that aspect, we will also be calling on government to publish a list of accidents that we have indicated in that press statement. So I would encourage you to watch out for that press statement sometime tomorrow morning.
I see. So, finally, before you go, why do you think perhaps government isn't so much interested in allowing independent investigative bodies in these issues?
Well, Bright, I think that would be for government to answer. To a very large extent, we think that as a growing country with a growing economy, we need to assure people of their safety. And what the advanced countries have done is to make sure that, there are systems that are that have checks and balances within. And so if we want to grow healthy, we want to assure public safety, we must copy these things, we must put in place checks and balances within our system. A situation where we leave people to themselves, whether they are doing a good job or not, is for them to know. I think that we, as a country, must frown on it and frown on it, as large as we can.
Nana, I'm grateful for your time with us. Nana Akwada is the Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety there, talking to me on the crash of the Starbow airline early on today in Accra. We're told that one person is on admission at the airport clinic, 2 others treated and discharged. We'll tell you more about that. But that's it for the big one. Welcome back to News at 10. The National Association of Hygiene Students have served notice to embark on a peaceful demonstration on Tuesday, November 28. This is to protest against government's failure to restore their training allowance. According to a statement by the association, the Akufo-Addo-led government promised to restore the allowance during the election campaign and has gone ahead to restore the allowances of nurses, midwives, and allied health trainees, but has sidelined these ones from the School of Hygiene across the country. Let's get into the details of that story. My guest is the SRC president of the Accra School of Hygiene, Samuel Ejiri, here with me. Good evening. Samuel, grateful for your time. So, originally, students of the school were on their allowance list, but now is it a situation of the allowance delaying, or you have been taken off the list?
Okay, thank you, sir. From time immemorial, our School of Hygiene has been on this allowance scheme, and this year, when we were told when the president promises that he has restored the allowance, School of Hygiene, we all were happy, because we know that definitely we will be part of this allowance issue. But then when the allowance was restored to some of our sister schools, we were waiting for hours, and because it delayed, we decided to make follow-up to the Ministry of Health to see whether we are part of. But then when we went, we were told we have been transferred to the new ministry, that is Sanitation and Water Resource. That is why they are not going to, or they are denying us from our allowance. But then we decided to write this petition to the ministry because... So,
Sami, before you go, so you were categorically told that now that you are now under the Sanitation and Water Resources Ministry, yes, you don't qualify for allowance. Is that what you were told?
That was what they told us. They said they have removed our list from those who are due for this allowance. But then we've gone through all the requirements. When we came this semester, we were told to submit our valid account numbers, eSwitch, as the nurses did. We were even told to submit valid national health insurance. We've done all these things, waiting for our allowance, and to our dismay, they are telling us, because we have been moved from the Ministry of Health to the Sanitation Ministry, we are no more entitled.
When was this information sent to you?
Actually,
we're in November now.
We went early this November. We went early this November to Ministry of Health, because when we came, because things delayed, we started mounting pressure on our administration. Then they embarked on several follow-ups from the Ministry of Health. But then the SRC for Accra, because it looks like we are in Accra, so we were doing it for the
on
other
behalf of the schools outside Accra.
Yes. So we went to Ministry of Health, and we were told we are not part of the Ministry
So
of Health.
early December, early November, you got this information.
Early November.
You had then been asked to submit your accounts and NHIS cards and all that.
Earlier on, before we
you had done all that.
Everything.
So the students, 700 of you, that's what we're
781.
81.
Yes.
You were embarking on a demonstration Tuesday. Have you sought clearance from perhaps the police to embark on this demonstration?
Yes, please.
You have?
Yeah, we've gone to the National Police Commander, Accra, and we have also asked other schools at Ho and Tamale to also go to their regional police, because we wanted to do it on regional basis.
Right.
Accra will be doing ours, then Ho and Tamale will be doing.
What do you intend to achieve with this demonstration on Tuesday?
We want to tell the government that the fact that School of Hygiene has been moved from the Ministry of Health to the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources doesn't mean our profession has been changed. We are still environmental health officers. We still belong to allied health profession. And so far as our colleagues who are in allied health profession are taking the allowance, we are also due to our allowance. We also want to remind the president and the government that in their manifesto, they stated categorically or clearly that they want to make Accra, not even Accra, they have sanitation in high esteem. And the president also said he even wants to make Accra the cleanest city. With that, we want to tell them that they have to restore allowance, because they can't do these sanitation issues without environmental health officers.
I see.
Yes, and we are still health professionals. That is what we want to
Tuesday,
tell them.
and if you hit a block, what next after Tuesday? If you're unable to get a hearing of government.
We know for sure that we will even hear them before the Tuesday. But then if they don't at least attend to us, we, the students of hygiene, that is Tamale, Ho, and Accra, will advise ourselves.
I'm grateful. Samuel Ejiri is the SRC president of the Accra School of Hygiene. They're talking to me about the intended demonstration on Tuesday. Now to the international front, Emmerson Mnangagwa was on Friday sworn in as Zimbabwe's president. Now, the new leader, who served as Mugabe's right-hand man for most of his career, used his first official address to try and differentiate himself from his predecessor, as his opponents tried to depict him as part of the status quo. Mnangagwa, who vowed to serve all citizens, also promised reforms to lift Zimbabwe out of poverty by jump-starting the country's lifeless economy and stamping out rampant corruption. Now, despite earlier addressing, admitting he played a role in Mugabe's demise, Mnangagwa showered the former leader with praise, portraying him as a national hero. Exactly what does it mean for the people of Zimbabwe? Let's get onto Skype and speak to Todd Mafarimbo. He's a Zimbabwean human rights activist there, and he just joined me on Skype. Good evening, sir. Grateful for your time. So, Mnangagwa is in office now. What are the expectations of Ghanaians, Zimbabweans, particularly with corruption and the economy?
Well, thank you for having me again. First and foremost, Mnangagwa made a very promising speech yesterday as the new president of Zimbabwe, which we all welcomed as a nation. He made a lot of commitments, a lot of promises. In particular, as you ask about corruption, he instructed the judges to deal with corruption swiftly and that no case must basically be in the courts for too long. Once the cases are presented, they must be dealt with and judgment passed and sentence passed. He's made an example, he's making an example already of one prominent figure, one Ignatius Chombo, who was the minister, he was overseeing finance. This is a man who has accumulated a lot of properties, a lot of wealth, and he was very corrupt. And basically, Chombo has been denied bail, and it's unheard of. It's a shock to the Zimbabwean community that someone as let's say as popular or as rich, as wealthy as Chombo can be denied bail in a Zimbabwean court. So it's a sign of things to come. There was another person that was in with him, a guy called Chipanga. I think you guys will remember. He's the one that threatened the army generals. So Mnangagwa is also sending out a message that issues of national security will not be taken lightly. They will be taken very seriously.
I see. Then comes the issue of a reconciliation where others, Mnangagwa himself spoke about it. But what do you think, bringing Zimbabwe together, what kind of reconciliation process should be done there?
Right. I think you guys will have heard of Gukura Hundi, where there was mass killings, which Mugabe described as a moment of madness. Mnangagwa has acknowledged that there are issues that need to be addressed, but when you lose 20,000 lives, it's not a small matter, and it's not a matter that Mnangagwa is ignoring. So he has acknowledged that issues need to be addressed, but as to how they're going to be addressed, obviously those are issues that he needs to sit down with his cabinet and discuss the way forward and actually engage with the people from Matabeleland as to how we're going to move forward. But basically, he's told his security chiefs, he's told the country at large, he's told ZANU-PF that Zimbabwe is for all Zimbabweans, not just a particular group of people, and that we need to accommodate each other. He's reaffirmed the elections scheduled for next year. He's encouraged all political parties to go out and campaign, and he's willing to stake his reputation on next year's elections with just a few months in office.
Todd, grateful for your time with us. Todd Mufarimbo is a Zimbabwean human rights activist talking to me about the new Zimbabwe under Emmerson Mnangagwa. Finally, the one-week memorial has been held or observed for Asempa FM's presenter and talk show host, Kwejo Asarabafo-Echam, also known as Kaba. Some media practitioners at the event say they have resolved to keep healthy lifestyles and observe holidays seriously, taking a cue from circumstances leading to the death of Kaba.
From all walks of life, people throng the forecourt of multimedia to mourn a friend and colleague. Politicians, the clergy, traditional leaders, family and colleague journalists came in their numbers. Representing the president was the Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and other party officials. To most people, media in Ghana would never be the same without Kaba. Others had resolved to take their health seriously. The final funeral rites has been scheduled for December 15 to 17.
And thanks so much for joining us on TV3 and also listening to us on 3FM 92.7. That's how we're wrapping up the show. Our production was by Selom Aminyo, studio director Brenda Dugan. My name is Brighton Anamfo. Have a good night, but stay right here on TV3. Good night.